You just came back from a trip. Could you tell everybody what that was about?
Yeah, you know what? I was down in New Zealand visiting some friends, and I like to make these destination trips around something. So this one was my friend moved down there, and he's one of my run buddies. So he had messaged me a few months back and said he was going to do this Tarawera ultra marathon down there. It's a 100 miler, and invited me to come down and do that. So that was my birthday is February 10th. I turned 50 in 2019, and we did a destination race for my 50th down in Costa Rica. So I thought, yeah, this year let's do New Zealand. So I think this may become a tradition. We'll do these destination races.
So how did you? To me, that sounds like driving 100 miles is is pretty good. Uh, how did you get involved in an ultra marathon like that?
Yeah, it's kind of like most things in my life. It's this progression of how do I chase the next big thing? How do I, you know, stepping stones, right? The first one, the first thing I sort of started with in my fitness journey was that marathon. Obviously, was the big goal, and I started with a 5K, got to a 10K, half marathon, eventually got to a marathon, and in 2013, well, 2012, I split with my wife, and sort of threw myself back into fitness at that time, just as a bit of a, I don't know, maybe coping mechanism at that point, and ended up doing Ironman triathlon in 2013, and ultimately just sort of progressed from there. And running was just an easier outlet because you lace up your shoes, you head out the door, and you run. Whereas triathlon was a lot more involved from a training perspective. So I shifted my endurance focus from triathlon to ultra marathons in about, I don't know, 2016. And then, yeah, started with a 30 miler, then a 50 miler, and then ultimately I've now competed in one, two, three, 400 milers.
Wow, is the toughest thing the physical part, or is it the emotional part of
Um, I,
that?
I think you obviously have to be prepared physically, but definitely the emotional and mental piece of the puzzle is the big one. It's that mindset of relentless forward progress. Just keep moving. You're going to hit low points at some point in the race. I mean, there's just no question about it. For me, we're talking about, depending on the course, anywhere from 24 to 32 hours of running. So yeah, at some point it's going to freaking suck. There's no getting around that. There's no amount of training that is going to get you to a point where it doesn't suck at some point in the race. So it's really more about tapping into that mindset and just continuing to move forward, even when it sucks, and know that that'll shift. My mantra becomes, when you hit that low point, it's keep moving, wait an hour, and see how you feel.
Hmm.
And usually there's a bit of a turnaround. I mean, it doesn't always have a turnaround. This last one was not a positive outcome. I ended up picking up a bit of a stomach bug the day before the race, and I made it just shy of 50 miles, but ultimately I couldn't keep any food in. It was going out both ends as soon as I could put it in, and it was just I ended up having to pull the plug.